Good evening, boys. Are you all right?
Yes, back again.
Again.
Yeah,
we are here.
We are,
yeah.
And it's the first part of our deadline day 4-day weekend. So it's not just going to be transfer deadline day; it's deadline weekend for the loaded lads. So it's going to be a busy one for us. Keep ourselves on our toes, but all in all, just to bring all the best news to you as when we can, as quick as we can. So, Mart, how's your day been, mate?
My day has been all right. We're busy at work, finished for the day. Good little few Twitter exchanges. Just anybody obviously notices I put my proper name back on for those that were upset last night at my Twitter, at my name tag of "We Don't Talk About Bruno." Shout out to Dean Thompson, who didn't get it, and sent some nice messages. So, Dean, I hope you're okay, mate. That's the real name there. If you've got a problem with that, you can tweet me. That's it right there. No problem.
I don't know how you could have got that wrong, though. Like,
I know. Well, I have tweeted out. I have tweeted out the video for Encanto. We don't talk about it. It was satirical, right? So anybody who didn't get it, we obviously spent time last night talking about Bruno, like we will do now. And somebody got their knickers in a twist on another pod and went, "Oh, they've all got attitudes, and we don't want to even talk about Bruno in his tag. How dare he?" Anyway, mate, fuck off. Have a good evening. Yeah, but great. I'm in good form. I've got a Guinness. Looking forward to this and the weekend. Wife's moved me into the spare room, but yeah, it's all good. Happy days. Crack on. Pete,
well, I think one thing we can definitely guarantee for anyone that wasn't up with the jokes, we're defo going to be talking about Bruno tonight at some point.
Be talking about Bruno. That's Bruno the footballer, not the Disney character. Just
that's the one.
Thompson,
and not Frank Bruno for anyone else that might be looking for a boxing channel.
Pete, you can get that on another pod, apparently.
More than likely, yeah. Pete, how's your day been, mate?
It's pretty standard. Work, pretty shit. Like I feel like I'm missing out. Like I've seen nothing today. Absolutely nothing. Work, gym, here.
Do you know what you need to do, mate? Change your name tag. That'll get you in with the kids. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think I might need to, but
I can help you out. Anything you need that offends the simple-minded.
I might. You know what? I might change it to Bruno Fernandes. Why
do that? We should all change our names to Bruno. That's what we should have done tonight. That would have been funny.
But no, in all seriousness, it was a great show yesterday. If you haven't seen it, watch it back. Fully Loaded Transfer Show, episode 6, and we did talk about Bruno a fair bit. I've got to say, and it was a great chat. It was great to be back, and I'm buzzing for this loaded weekend. And yeah, it's going to be a good one.
I think we need to actually give a shout out to our boy Jordan, who was on last night, because he gives up his Thursday night and he comes on with us for 2.5-3 hours chatting shite. And he really, really enjoys it. So we do try and bring on some really good guests, but I think the capture, we talk about a good transfer window, and I think the capture of Jordan Cronin from Newcastle World being here every Thursday and chatting about transfers and everything else. And I hope, because I know that we are trying to extend his contract. Pete is working behind the scenes.
Right. Already extended.
So there you go. So there's an exclusive. Yeah, Jordan will be staying with us after the transfer window, which will be great. So yeah, he's savage, and fair play to him. He sat there last night and went through a load of stuff with us. So yeah, really good show. If you haven't watched it, go out there and watch it.
Yeah, you definitely enjoy it more, Mark, if he wasn't having to listen to your shit though. But that's
Listen, mate, I wasn't the one that was trying to spam the chat last night. We know who they were. But anyway, Chris, what about you, mate?
Oh God, mate, yeah, busy day in work, but yeah, really looking forward to the next couple of nights doing the shows. I was like you boys, I was really surprised, about the whole Bruno Gate thing. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I reckon we spent a good chunk of the show last night talking about Bruno. So yeah, the tongue in cheek, it didn't quite hit home with everyone, did it?
No.
But do you know what? Really looking forward to tonight's show. Lots to talk about as always. And yeah, also looking forward to our special guest coming on as well, which I didn't even know about until I logged in a minute ago.
Bruno,
none of you knew about it.
Exactly.
It was one of them that Martin talked about last night. He wanted one of those deals that nobody knows about.
Yeah,
it just
happened.
Okay, and we managed to do that tonight.
Agent Pete was working hard behind the scenes.
Well, that's it, because obviously we haven't got Dars tonight, and we've been used to being fully loaded the last few weeks or so. We had to have 5 on to fill the gap, didn't we? So what we did, we went in our little black book, as we like to say, and we're glad to bring back Mr. Charlie Bennett.
Yeah.
Good evening, mate. How are you?
Bonjour, lads. Bonjour, lads. How we doing? I'm buzzing to be on the show. You're special guest tonight. I'm not going to lie. I've just had a Domino's before I've come on air, and I've got a little bit of a dicky belly off it. So if you see us run off, just don't ask any questions, because that Domino's has snapped us enough.
Listen, that's fine, mate.
I've got to say, I think this is the third time I've been on Loaded. The first time you had 700 subscribers. Second time you had 1,500. Third time you got 2,200. So you're jumping up, man. You're smashing it. You're killing it.
So is this you trying to say that you're taking credit for it, Charlie?
No. I'll just come on just to keep toot every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. It's just stage growth. You're coming to make sure it's happening. No, fair play to you, buddy. Always good to see you, as ever.
Yeah, pleasure to join us there, Charlie. So, lads, let's get down to business, because we are literally trying to stick to the hour tonight, because as we did a 2.5 hour show last night, it can be a bit of a marathon to get through. So we are going to try and keep it fresh tonight, because there's a lot of topics we covered last night. But we wanted to start off the show because the lads had a game today. The behind closed door friendly in Saudi, where they took on the current Saudi league leaders, Al Ittihad, I believe it is. It was a 2-1 victory for the two. Sam Maximum and Fraser on the score sheet for us. Mart, we actually discussed this briefly when we had the team up. We felt in the chat that there's a lot of the players on that starting lineup and who are on the bench who are possibly playing for the place. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, look, we were talking at lunchtime. You kind of pinged up the team. I was just heading into lunch. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, with the exclusion of probably Trippier, Willock, and St. Maximum possibly, well, absolutely, Murphy maybe on a borderline, pretty much the rest of them in that team, I would think, were unsure as such as to whether they're worth a place, not only in squad, but also in the club in the longer term. Game was behind closed doors. A few people there. Obviously, Amanda was there. It looked like, certainly from the videos that I kept getting sent in different beats, that our good friend Al Walid was in disguise, or certainly was getting a feed from somebody, because I did get the goals and a few pictures and a few other bits. So I'm wondering whether he was there. But yeah, look, it seemed to be an okay match. 2 goals. Fraser and AXM with the 2 goals. But obviously it was spoiled slightly as Kieran Clark managed to get himself sent off yet again for Newcastle after a skirmish with one of the Etihad players. A bit embarrassing, I think, on 2 fronts. One, it's a friendly. Did the ref really need to send him off? Wasn't much in it when I look at it from the videos that are floating around on Twitter. But it's embarrassing. Come on, lads. In Saudi, owners are watching, PIF are there, Mandy's there, Eddie's there with the boys, wanting to put on a good show, and a so-called seasoned professional that should know better gets involved in a bit of a handbag situation and gets sent off. Oh, it's not a good look, is it?
It's not good, is it, Mark, when you've got your last 2 starts have finished with a red card?
No, look, I mean, he's an experienced pro. I mean, you'd expect it from, a lad coming up from the 18s on the 23s or whatever, bit of heat, bit of craziness, different country, you get a stud up the side of the thigh, you might lose it a little bit. But, he's an experienced pro. He's got X amount of caps for Ireland, any amount of games for us, 3-4 seasons. It's embarrassing. It's nothing more than embarrassing. Clark should know better. And I would say probably from that, and certainly from what I've seen from Twitter since, I would say that's probably far and few between his last game. Where's Monkey? Daz is currently filming an advert for the new to soon be released Tango, the Irish version. So yeah, hopefully we'll see him. But yeah, he'd be gutted now. He'd be sat at home with his little orange can of Fanta, and he'd be kicking off now at home, wouldn't he?
What did you think, Martin, of the little? What did you think of the little kiss and make up after the game between Clark and the player? Do you reckon that was a little bit staged, or do you reckon it was just?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that, Charlie, just before coming on air when we were saying, you know, it looked a bit staged. So I'd say from both clubs, it was probably a bit embarrassing. I mean, effectively it's a showpiece. It's behind closed doors. I'm imagining it's for a very selected audience. It's a lot about promoting Newcastle, I would imagine there. Sponsorship, I think we'll see something on that shortly, I would think. Obviously, we've got the guy from Saudi Gulf being appointed to the board of directors. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, 4 or 5 pictures of the two boys shaking hands, having a hug, swapping shirts. It's not. I think sometimes, given what had happened, you're probably better to do nothing. Sometimes less is more. They maybe should have left it, but I suppose from a point, they don't want people going off looking at it. Is there a bit of sour blood on the pitch? You know, doesn't end well. 2 players sent off, 1 from each side. It's not. I'm sure if you're Eddie Howe, it's not how you want that game to kind of end up. You want to go out there. You don't want any injuries. You want to play the PR game. You want to look well. You want players to behave themselves. And we've seen the videos of a few of them dancing around the Saudi Arabian tent thing. They've got the sticks and they're having a dance with some of the Saudi lads. Listen, I'm sure it was embarrassing for them, but you're in a different country. It's their culture. You're trying to assimilate and show the brand and the club for what it is, the club that we know it is. So again, for Clark to do what he did, I think for Eddie Howe and probably Amanda, I think it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for a pro like that to get sent off. Should the ref have sent him? Maybe not. It's a friendly, bit harsh, but look, he should know better. It's not a good look. So I think that'll be one of his last games for us. I would be surprised if he gets a few more, but we'll see.
No, I agree with that. Chris, do you want to mention something about the comment on the screen at the moment, mate?
Yeah. So Guybrush Threepwood has mentioned that Chris's family have donated 5k to the food bank. I've got to be honest, Guybrush, I haven't seen that, but I wanted to keep it on screen because
we'll check it out with Dave.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, Saudi Dave's been really close to all of that. Obviously, ceremony that was this week. I think he's been expatriated back to the States tomorrow. I believe it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll tap Dave up later on and find out. But if that is the case, that's amazing. So
definitely,
it's incredible. Yeah.
So just going back to the friendly that we started touching on. One thing we noticed was that Trippier had the armband today. Do you think that's a sign of intent going forward, possibly, Pete?
If that's not a sign of intent, then I don't know what is. He's clearly been a leader on the pitch since he's come to the club. He's clearly been a leader in the back room. I think lots and lots of journalists have talked about his influence in and around the place and part of that leadership team already. So it doesn't surprise me that he's been given the armband. I think we need to get used to seeing that a little bit more often from Kieran Trippier, because I think he will probably get the armband as of next season. That's for sure. He's really kind of taking on this responsibility. Because I don't think anywhere else he's been at, I don't think he's really had the armband anywhere, but he's really taken on that leadership responsibility. So it's clearly something that him and Howe have had this chat about before he signed on the dotted line, and it's coming to fruition. For me, the game today was just great to see them win. And just I think I said that to Mark earlier on. It was just nice to see them win and to keep that winning mentality and that winning sort of feeling. It doesn't matter what team it's against. There's no better feeling than a winning feeling, and there's no way better than getting a win when you're going into a game in a week and a half's time that is crucial to how the rest of our season is going to pan out. So good to see Ryan Fraser get on the score sheet, and it was good that PIF were there today, or certainly representatives of PIF, to see Kieran Clark get sent off, because if Eddie Howe's not wanting to get him out of the team, PIF certainly will be, and it's lucky that we've got a few days left to move him on, because he is just not good enough for our club anymore.
No, I agree with that. Charlie, Pete just touched on it there. Obviously, ESM got on the score sheet again for Newcastle. But I think one of the more important one was that Fraser got the winner for Newcastle. He seems to be playing with a bit more confidence now. Do you think this goal could possibly give him extra confidence going at the second half of the season?
Well, I mean, if you look at the goal was, I don't know if you've seen it, but Newcastle looked like bloody Barcelona for that goal. I mean, I don't think the Saudi team kicked the ball for a good 2-3 minutes. But, you know, Ryan Fraser's, he's definitely been one of the players that's improved under Eddie Howe. You know, he was sort of suffering with injury after injury under Steve Bruce. Eddie Howe's worked with him before. When Eddie Howe took over, people were already talking about Ryan Fraser potentially improving his game. I think we have seen that. Was that a donation there?
Yeah.
Oh, CFC is a legend.
CFC is a legend, yeah.
But yeah, Ryan Fraser, after the game, I don't know if you've seen his interview. It's on the Twitter feed for Newcastle United's Twitter feed. He was actually sort of a bit tongue-in-cheek saying, yeah, you know, like, I've scored a goal today, but I've got to do it in the Premier League now. So I think he is aware that, you know, he's improving.
He's got to up it a bit.
He's improving, but we haven't seen the Ryan Fraser of Bournemouth yet. Just on Trippier and the captaincy, I agree with Peter. At the end of the season, I've got no problems with Trippier getting the armband, but I've seen one or two fans calling for like Trippier to be made captain now. I don't think that would be the right way to go about it. I mean, he's, you know, Lascelles, whatever you think of him as a player, he's still one of the strongest people in the dressing room. And when you're in a relegation fight, you need sort of harmony in the squad. And to take that from Lascelles, who's obviously such a big character, he's been here for years, he's been with captain for years, I think that would just be sort of rocking the boat a bit. I wouldn't have any problem Trippier captain like ahead of the new season, whatever division we're in, but I wouldn't be giving him it permanently right now.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where, you know, the only way he's realistic you're going to lose it is if Lascelles is injured or suspended and Shelby's not on the pitch as well, because obviously we know Shelby's vice captain at the moment. So I probably agree with you on that one, Charlie. I think it's probably one they're going to aim towards the end of the season when we start a refresh. So, Chris, obviously that's the lads fly home from Saudi tomorrow. Do you think it's been a beneficial trip for the lads?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's good, you know, for the lads to get away. I mean, they're normally used to far humbler places to go and visit, aren't they? You know, we're used to Ireland, or I think they also.
Go steady, go steady there, lad. Go steady.
We've got to go to Liverpool twice a season, Chris.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. But no, I love Ireland. I've been to Ireland a couple of times. It's great. But in terms of, you know, like when you're going away on trips, like obviously if there's Saudi Arabia or there's Ireland, you know what I mean. But I think it's good commercially for the club, but I also think it's good for the players, because I believe that, you know, the players are going to come back refreshed. Warm weather training's never a bad thing, but also I think it kind of lets them know, you know, we've arrived now. We're going to be taking things seriously. We're really ramping it up. The owners mean business. The club means business. So, you know, when they come back from this trip, all eyes again, you know, getting ready for the next match, getting prepared. And I just think it makes the players feel more wanted, more respected. That's what's really been lacking over the years, isn't it? I mean, the player, you know yourself, when the players have probably been walking around the training facilities, they've probably been looking around thinking they don't give a shit about us, really. I know they're paid very handsomely, but you know yourselves, guys, if you went into work and your work was a shithole, you would think, now they're really not bothered about me, are they? But then if you start improving things and you start treating the players the way they should be, they probably look around other Premier League clubs and they think, you know what, we've been missing out on this. So I'm actually pleased that the lads have had a good breakaway, and I think it's going to be good for the rapport. It's going to be good for the team bonding, and I'm really looking forward to the Everton game. I think we're going to see a really, really good performance.
I think the other, sorry, Richie, the other interesting thing for me off the trip was that obviously PIF's governor Al Rumian took time out to meet the squad and Eddie Howe and take them through the project, the vision, where they want to bring the club, why they want to make Newcastle the focal point of the project, and all the other stuff. So I kind of listened to the interview today with Eddie Howe. I thought it was really interesting, and that, you know, the owner took time to, you know, sit with the squad and take them through the vision of where they want it to be. And I think there must be nothing better for me, if I was a player, that the governor of PIF sits me down in a hotel over lunch or whatever it is and goes, lads, this is where we're aiming. It's not here or here. Like we want to be here, and we're gonna get you guys there. We're gonna do ABC. We're gonna spend whatever, but 3 to 5 years, we want to be winning leagues. We want to be hitting finals. We want to be Champions League in Europe. I mean, if you're a player like Trippier, I'm sure had that speech when they were signing up. But I mean, if you're a player at that club, how can you not then go into the second half of the season and bat your balls to one side and go, I really want to be part of this? If that doesn't drive you on, then you don't deserve to be at that club. And it's that simple.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree with you, Mart. So I think we've covered the friendly there and the trip into the Middle East. I think it's time that we definitely talk about Bruno. So it's that
Bruno.
Shall I put you on mute, Mart?
Hold on. Have we checked? Is Dean watching? Right, because he said we didn't watch it last night. Right, so we didn't talk about Bruno. A few of them said we didn't talk about Bruno. So just if you're watching, we're going to talk about Bruno.
So, lads, as we broke last night when we were on the Fully Loaded Transfer Show last night, as the word came about off TalkSport that the deal was done, all barring the medical today, which we believe, because Martin actually went and was in contact with his agent today, just going over the final details of the contract there while the medical was going ahead, because we know that Bruno was currently away in Brazil for the World Cup qualifiers. Unfortunately, didn't get on the pitch last night. That's probably a good thing for us. There's no chance of getting injured. So he'll be all fresh and fit and raring to go when he gets back for the Everton game. But fingers crossed, either late tonight, I'll probably say more early hours of the morning. I think tomorrow she'll finally see this. So, Mart, what's your feelings?
Oh, look, it's a smash and grab, isn't it? I mean, he's we've had so many players mentioned. I think somebody was talking last night, 230 odd players that we've had mentioned. The lads at NUFC.com online have kind of been putting the names up and keeping a list. But like, I mean, this lad is Champions League level. He would walk into any current top team and demand a start. Not just go to a team and be happy. He would demand a starting lineup place. So I think if you look at the players, you look at the teams who have tried to get him, and I think the bigger thing for me that says that this is a real steal, and let's us see where the club want to be, is the absolute glorious fume from Man United, Spurs, Arsenal and Liverpool fans, because it's just delightful to watch on Twitter as they melt down in their thousands about us signing a player of that stature in a bottom three. So yeah, look, it's amazing. I mean, he's an amazing player. He's a quality. He's a top footballer. Simple as that.
Yeah, he definitely is. I wanted to give a shout out to someone who's also got a YouTube channel. He's done a few little things for Sky Sports. Well, I put the video in our WhatsApp chat today. I know a few of you got a chance to watch it. It's a guy called James Alcott. Now, he is actually a QPR fan, but he does cover a lot of football, EFL, ESPN, and stuff like that. Go and check him out on YouTube, because he's actually put a 15-minute video on there about Bruno Guimaraes from an impartial view. And he's absolutely gobsmacked that Newcastle have got it. But he also goes into detail about how he's going to be able to transform this team going forward. And he says it's a stroke of him. It's actually a masterclass, the fact that we've been able to get Guimaraes from under the nose of all the big six and stuff like that. So go and check him out. He's called James Alcott. He's a fantastic, YouTuber and stuff. We've reached out to see if we can get him on the show at some point. So hopefully that we can make that happen. But go and check it out, because it'll give you a bit more in depth about Bruno Guimaraes as well, if you don't know much about him as well. So definitely go and check that out. Pete, now, last night we brought up this about Guimaraes during the Fully Loaded Transfer Show about his stats with the progressive passes and progressive carries. Now, I know we touched on this briefly last night, And I know how much you love your stats, Pete. So I actually got another slide for you tonight. And I just want you to go over what your thoughts were on this. This is Bruno's stats from the Lyon this season so far. And obviously, you're the other coach on the panel here. So I'll let you go through them, what you make of these stats for this season.
Okay, I've not seen this before, so we'll have a look. Okay, well, what we could see is that his interceptions are good. Successful dribbles, 76% over the course of the season. Shot accuracy, short pass accuracy is good. But these are the things that we know about Bruno Guimaraes, is that his short and long passing is very, very good. You can see that on the clips that we showed yesterday. Very, very creative with regards to his open play. As we can see, successful tackles. What's on there, and I don't think it's on there, what I would have liked to have seen is his pressing. Because his ability to press the ball is very, very good in tight spaces. The amount of times he wins the ball back in possession within that tight midfield is underrated. So that's going to be something that's really, really important to us. Like I say, he's not the massive goal scorer, but he likes to create from deep. And he makes things happen. So what you tend to find from Bruno Guimaraes is that he won't always play that pass that gets the assist, but he'll play the pass before the pass that gets the assist. And he's that type of player. He's got a little bit of bite to the game. You know, he likes to get stuck in. He's not afraid to put a challenge in. And as Lee mentioned yesterday, when I kind of read out his statement on the show, it's a case of, you know, can he get to grips with the Premier League, with the pace of the Premier League, you know, the physicality and the ability to put himself about in a very busy midfield is not in question. So his ability on the ball, as you can see, is very good. His ability to win the ball back is also very good, although some of the stats are not on there. But we are going to see someone that is going to completely revamp this midfield. You know, we've and me personally talked about the kind of the resurgence of John Joe Shelby in the last few weeks, certainly under Eddie Howe. And in my opinion, okay, John Joe Shelby, although he's been very, very good, we're going to see a player that's twice the ability, twice the quality of him when he comes into the team.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think one of the things when I was looking at these stats is his high percentages in every single category for a midfielder, bar obviously the goals, but you know, he's more like a deep line playmaker, number 9. And I think the one thing that gives you more hope is if you actually look at the chances created, he's creating nearly 2 chances every single game. Yes, he's only got 3 assists, but if you look at a lot of the highlights from some of the Lyon's games, it's been more let down by some of his colleagues, his other, you know, his teammates whose, you know, control hasn't been great or their finishing's been poor. But you'd like to say that we've got some quality in the final third of the pitch when everyone's fit. So you'd hope that, you know, those assist category would go a lot higher there as well. Chris, at the moment we're playing with like a 4, you know, either 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. Do you think we'll be sticking to a similar sort of formation with Guimaraes coming in? Chris? No, Chris.
No, he's quality, isn't he?
Oh, no.
Chris.
Hello, Chris. Talking to you, mate.
It's you.
What? I'm looking at Pete going like that.
Yeah, come on. You asked a question.
Oh, I think I've frozen.
What do you mean? Hang on, Jeff. Has there been a sending off? Oh, I don't know. I'm not really watching.
I know. You were still talking on my stream.
Oh, where Kamara?
Hey, that's what you do now. Chris
Can you have it now, Chris?
Forget Avon. Chris Kamara. Get it changed. Guys on the chat, you know what to do. Chris Kamara.
No, I think my stream's behind. That's why. Because I was waiting. Richie was still asking me the question, so I was like that. Waiting, and then you all started going like that, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
So, did you hear the question?
I'm alive now.
Yeah.
I heard the question.
Did you hear the question, Chris?
Yeah, repeat it for me though, Rich. I didn't hear you, but just repeat it for me. Sorry.
We're only on for an hour.
Yeah, Chris, what I said
sorry,
was...
mate, the internet's been playing up. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, we've been playing with a back four in a mixture of either a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1, depending on who we're playing at. Do you think that's going to be a similar sort of formation going forward with Guimaraes fit in there?
Rich, it's a really interesting point, because I think, has it done it again?
I'm just laughing at that comment in the chat there, Chris.
Let me come off and on.
Ask we still have Mike Ashley as the owner.
Yeah, let's get Charlie to comment. You go and read
Charlie, please tell us, Charlie, that you actually heard that question.
Yeah. Where do I think he fits in tactically? Well, I can't claim to be an expert on Guimaraes. I hope that's how you pronounce his name, because I think I've pronounced his name about 40 different ways since we were linked with him. But I'm not an expert on him. When the news broke that we were going to sign him, I don't watch too much French football, but I've done a little bit of research on him. I've spoke to people who, they watch French football, Spanish football religiously, and they say him as from what I'm hearing, he's like a deep lying playmaker, sort of how you describe it, like a bit like a Busquets Carrick type of player, sort of a deep lying holding midfield player. Now, to me, the player who's been playing that role this season has been Jonjo Shelvey. So I can actually see him long term being the replacement for Shelvey, because he's a similar sort of player to him. The defensive midfielder that I think Newcastle need, like as well as Guimaraes, is a sort of a check to your ace style midfielder, an enforcer in there, somebody who's going to break up the play, sit in front of the back four, and put some shield to that defence, because we've all watched that Newcastle backline this season just get ripped apart. It's been a nightmare at times. I know you were down Leicester as well, lads, weren't you? When I was down there, and that was just a nightmare, man. We just look fragile every single time we were on the back foot. But yeah, he's going to be a quality signing, man. He looks like somebody said that he's the Kabay replacement that we never had. And if he's as good as Johan Kabay was, we're in for a good one, I think, boys.
Yeah, I think
sorry, Richie, there is a bit of news.
Go on. Is it breaking news, is it?
It could be. So it is expected that the announcement for Bruno Guimaraes is imminent. Medical has been passed, and it has now been passed to Newcastle as to when they wish to announce the deal.
Hey!
So yeah, that's
we're doing a title charge, lads. We're doing a title charge.
Yeah. So medical complete. Yeah.
Not long
Deal
away.
50 million plus bonuses. Base fee closer to 40 million. Most expected now. Newcastle to announce within the next 2 hours.
At least Joe Linton's got a mate now. Yeah.
Oh, I actually seen a classic one today, lads, on Twitter. Somebody put up, class. I'm so delighted that J7's going to have someone to talk to. Must be sad being, having nobody else to talk Brazilian to. And somebody just tweeted after and went, "It's Portuguese, mate."
But not all that. I think this is the. There was talk earlier on in the month, Rich, that I think it was Pete Graves was talking about it, that Piff wanted the sort of marquee signing to be a centre midfield player, and it looks like he's going to be the man. I mean, Arsenal were linked with him, Juventus were linked with him. He's obviously a good player. You don't play for Brazil if you haven't got something about you. So I think he's going to slot right in there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the, you were saying about the link to Kabay is, it's the midfield that we haven't had since then. The one main difference for Guimaraes is he doesn't have that goal threat that Kabay had before, but he does a lot of run and he'll create a lot more going forward. As the stat one we had last night, if you look, obviously you wouldn't have seen this unless you watched the show last night, Charlie. We've got this from last night. And if you look right at the very, very top, there's a white arrow, and that's Bruno Guimaraes.
Bloody hell, I didn't even see him up there. Yeah.
So if you look on the left-hand side of the vertical axis, you've got the progressive passes. Along the bottom, it's progressive carries. So he's pretty much top of everything. There's only Guendouzi, who's on loan at Marseille from Arsenal, who's hiding behind the black and white army logo, but they're head and shoulders above everybody else in Ligue 1.
That lad smack bang in the middle there, Boubacar Kamara, we've been linked with a move from him. He's highly rated from Marseille. His contract's up at the end of the season.
Yeah, we discussed him in for a load of transfer at the start of the window because obviously we were linked with him in the summer. But the other couple of names that were on there that we touched on last night is the one directly below Guimaraes is Romain Favre, who's actually going to look as though he's going to be the Leon's replacement for Guimaraes, but also just a bit further down, Seko Fofana. Now everybody's been raving about Seko Fofana this window, who's going to line him up, where he's going to go, and stuff like that. So to be taking, probably the best midfielder in Liga at the moment from all the big European teams, not just Premier League, we're talking about European teams here, and to sign him at Newcastle, he's going to be one of those players who. You'll see if that podcast I mentioned before about James Alcott, he actually mentioned is he the first company signing of this regime under PIF? Would you agree with that, Pete?
I didn't catch that last bit. I think
they mentioned that they think he's going to be one of those company signings where he's going to build the team around him.
Yeah, look, he's 24 years old. Bruno Guimaraes, 24 years old, Brazilian international. He's a marquee signing. He is the type of signing to build a team around. We talked about it earlier on in the window when we were heavily linked with and close to signing Sven Botman. At 21 years old, Dutch international, he is the type of player you want to build a team around and grow with. And that's exactly what Bruno Guimaraes is here to do. Look, there's a lot of talk with rival fans about Bruno Guimaraes just coming for the money because he's doubling, tripling his wages. Yes, he will come for a financial gain, of course. But if you know anything about Bruno Guimaraes, and if you've listened to anything about Bruno Guimaraes, particularly over the last week in which we've been linked with him, the one thing that everybody talks about, and I'll be talking about this with Lee in a little bit more detail as well, in that he's hungry. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the best in everything that he does, whether it's in training, whether it's in matches in terms of making the most passes or ensuring that his team wins in those little knockarounds in training. He's not happy if he's not winning things. So if people think he's going to come here and sit on his triple the amount of wages and just see things through, you've got another thing coming, because one of the things that Eddie Howe has said, and one of the things that Eddie Howe is starting to do is not just buying any old player. He's looking into the details of the player, not just in their ability, their makeup, what type of personality are they, what's their mentality like. He's bringing players in that are desperate, that players that are hungry, players that want to win, that want to improve their career, want to better the club. They're not just going and buying any old player. If that was the case, we'd have already had 6 players in now. Our business probably would have been done, and those players probably would have just sat on it, sat on their big fat wages, and we wouldn't be getting any more performances. This guy is the real deal, and you will see it when he starts playing for us. There's no doubt about it.
How glad are you, Pete, that it's PIF sending Steve Nixon over to complete the deal rather than Mike Ashley? Because I think if it was Mike Ashley sending a Lee Charnley or Steve Nixon over, I think it would have been a 1-star hotel and a KFC, wouldn't it?
And that deal wouldn't happen.
The thing about it is that if it was Mike Ashley, this deal wouldn't happen. If it was Mike Ashley would be saying, "I'm not sending you. You come to me." And people's backs up, deals don't get done. Yeah. This is the difference: is that actually there's a level of professionalism in how our owners are handling this business. There's a level of professionalism. There's a level of quality, and I think players and people are starting to see it. You know what? Who's starting to see it more than anything? The media. The media are starting to see now how this ownership and this club are operating on a completely different level. There's some in the media that will try and jump on Newcastle's back for a quick, for a quick a few clicks here and there. You've got some of the national journalists that are taking a dislike to Newcastle, and that's fine. But the vast majority, if you ask them, will say, and you'll probably know more than anyone, Charlie, anyone will say that actually the way in which the club's been run since Mike Ashley's taken over the club is on a completely different level. You can see the life coming back into the club now.
Yeah. All right, Richie, who's next? Cognizant of time. Who else are we talking about?
Yeah, I think this is Chris about to come back in, so I'll just log him in and get him in as well.
Just before you go to the next one,
as
it's already been mentioned, we've got 390 people watching tonight. What I can see in the chat, because we do watch the chat and we do interact with you guys. That's one of the things that we do on Loaded HQ, is that there are a number of new guests watching the show and commenting on the show. Welcome to Loaded HQ. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and join us, because look, we've already talked about at the beginning of the show. We've got so much to go through over the next 4 days and beyond. You want to be a part of it, that's for sure. So click that subscribe button. If you want to become a member, and there's a few in the chat, I can see people putting comments on. You can join us and become a member as well.
Spot on. Exactly. Thanks for that, Pete. Yeah, next on the checklist to discuss, Mart, is this player coming home? We were heard there was a deal. Sorry, a bid went in for about 7 million in a deal, which was rejected. Supposedly Brighton are wanting closer to 15. There's a rumor going, we put in increased the bid to 10 million. Would you be happy with Dan Burn coming home?
Do you know what? I think that's a deal that happens. Lad wants to leave. 18 months left on the contract. I think Brighton will sell. He's done really well for them recently. I think he'd be a great addition to the squad. We spoke about this on last night's show. As Pete said earlier, if you haven't watched last night's show, get onto Loaded HQ, check it out with us and Jordan Cronin. I think, again, I'll reiterate my point from last night's show, which is if we can bring in players that improve what we have now and can help us get up that table, bring them in. Even at 15 million, if we throw another 3-4 million at it to get Dan Burn in, he's tall, good in the air, good on the ground. He's got good feet. Archie watched a clip of him there against Man City, I think a couple of seasons ago. And he takes a ball down from the air as Aguero was coming in behind him. And Aguero actually stops as the player is going to the other end of the pitch, goes across to Dan Burn, pats him on the back and gives him the thumbs up. So you don't kind of get that from such quality strikers as Aguero in your day if you're not a good defender. So I think it's a deal that happens. I think we'll see him come in before the end of the window over the next kind of 48 hours, I would say. And I think it'd be a great asset. Yeah, I think bring the lad home.
And he's from Blythe. He's from Blythe as well, Martin. That's exactly, one attribute. Yeah. That's one trick he's got up his sleeve.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I know we've all spoken before about the long staffs, and you don't. It's about being more than just a Geordie. But if he's a Geordie and you bring him home, but he's actually a good baller, then there's a big difference for me. So yeah, I think it'd be a positive sign, Richie.
Yeah, I think it's a complete no-brainer. Like we said last night.
15 million in today's market's good value. Go and get him.
It is for a centre half, left-footed, 6'7", Premier League experience. You're going to get 29-year-old. You're going to get 3-4 years out of him. So it's, and we said also last night we're surprised how versatile he is. He can play centre back. He can play left centre back of a 3. He can even play as a wing back or a full back as well. So there's that versatility aspect to him as well. Yeah. Someone else that was mentioned last night that we touched on briefly last night. We didn't have any pictures uploaded or anything like that because the news broke as we were on air during the Fully Loaded transfer show last night. Was Jenny St. Just from Mans. Now, a lot of people didn't know much about him. I know Pete's got this habit of, as soon as a name's mentioned, he likes to go and do his research straight away. So, Pete, did you not get to do any research on St. Just last night then?
I did not get bed until 2:00 in the morning because I was not only buzzing off a fantastic show last night with you boys and Jordan, but also to look at and catch up with the day's events with Bruno Guimaraes. I was buzzing off the fact that we had the breaking news that the deal was agreed, but also I wanted to check out this guy. And obviously I'm not afraid to say I don't really know too much about him, but I was very, very impressed for 2 reasons about this young defender. One, the potential price that we're going to pay for him. There's talk around the 13 million mark, and then to see the fact that he could cost 13 million, and then actually watching, yes, okay, it's his best bits, but watching him in action, I was thinking we could be onto an absolute snip here, and it might not be the worst thing in the world that the Carlos deal hasn't gone through if we end up getting this guy. I'll tell you what, so there was lots of talk of him being absolutely rapid. I can confirm that that is the case. He is very, very quick. You know what? He's a good recovery of the ball. In very tight situations, he always tends to win the ball back in tight situations, and he's not afraid to put his foot in. Some may say that's a little bit of a risk, and in some of the things that I watched, he was going to ground in the box, but winning the ball. Might not always happen, but he's not afraid to put a tackle in and get stuck in. But actually, very comfortable on the ball, being able to work the ball in tight spaces, but also win the ball back in tight spaces. So there were a number of scenarios that I was watching where he was in a position where he was behind the attacker, and the attacker had the advantage, and it was very obvious very quickly that St. Juice was getting back and nicking the ball off him, but then starting the attack again. He looked very, very comfortable. The one thing that I didn't see from him is his aerial ability as a centre-back. I didn't see too much of him winning balls in the air, being strong, big and strong. He's not physically the biggest, but to be fair, if you've got someone like Dan Burn next to you, or fingers crossed if it still happens, me and Chris are still praying every day that it happens with Sven Botman, you actually have got a nice little mix there of someone that's big, tall, physical, can win the ball, but then you've got a recovery defender. If you look at every best defensive partnership, you have a winner, someone that commands big, strong, wins the ball in the air, and then you've got a sweeper. You've got a recovery guy that if they get past the big guy, you've got someone that can sweep up. So actually, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad partnership to have someone like that working. I mean, I'd go down the classic centre-back pairings. You've got the Tony Adams and the Sol Campbells. You've got the John Terrys and the Ricardo Cavallios. You've got the Rio Ferdinands and or should I say, the Nemanja Vidic and the Rio Ferdinands. You've got the Companies and the Otamendi's, or the Companies and whoever he played with, because to be fair, he could do both jobs. He was that good. So you've got those pairing partnerships. And I'm not saying this partnership will be on that level, but you can get the understanding of where a defensive partnership would work and really work well together. So I'm excited by that. I'm disappointed I've not heard more. And actually, as we were talking, there was a little bit of an update. So Luke Edwards has tweeted out saying that there's 3 deals expected to be done to wrap up the window. One of them is Bruno Guimaraes, who we know about. The other one was Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal. Looks like it could potentially be done and is close to being done. And Dan Burn was the other one. So what I was disappointed about was the fact that Jeremiah St. Juice wasn't part of that talking. But that's only one journalist. Things could all change. There was talk that we were being heavily linked with him, and I really hope we are, because he looks like a talented player.
Yeah, I follow. I've seen he looks like a good ball player as well. I think the interesting thing we've had with a few players in this window is we're going for a lot of Dutch players who we know are renowned for being comfortable on the ball. You know, you look at Mitchell Bakker, Sven Botman, now St. Just as well. So they've actively looked at the Dutch market as well. So you know that there's good quality there. So, Chris, just going forward, I want to ask you next, because on Sky just before the show started, Kavya Solokol had mentioned that there was a rumour that it's pretty much not going to happen, but don't rule out us going back in for this guy. Would you be happy if he was to come in and there was a deal revitalised?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is a top centre back, and you know, I've been listening to the last couple of weeks to Pete. Pete knows far more about him than what I do. And if he's good enough for Pete, I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? I know Pete knows his football, and he's obviously got his brother there as well, who watches a lot of European football. So for me, yeah. And is he an upgrade on what we've got at the moment? Absolutely. So yeah, I would be pleased. I had reservations at the very start of the deal, which you lads will remember. I am a little bit concerned about overpaying, and if we were to overpay, as I think we spoke about before, I'd rather us overpay on Botman. But if we do get the Diego Carlos deal done, then yeah, obviously, Rich, I'll be happy. It's really interesting though, isn't it, that this Diego Carlos deal won't go away? So it does make you wonder whether there is a potential for it to still happen. But literally, the Sven Botman one is just not heard of now, is it? It's just you don't hear anything. So whether or not that's been kept quiet or whether that's off the table, I don't know. I know, Pete. I know he was our company, wasn't he? He was the one we wanted. But I do hope. I mean, if you gave me the option now, I would much rather us going for Botman than Carlos. Because again, talking about my reservations, I do worry about paying 30+ million for a player who is either 29 or approaching 29. And I look at Botman and I think he's got everything, hasn't he? He's got youth on his side. Anyway, I won't go through it, but I still hope and pray that something is going to happen with that. But don't get me wrong, if we got Diego Carlos, there's nothing not to like, is there?
I think if you look at those players, or Pete talked about, the partnerships and stuff. I think the other real important thing, which is something for me, looking at teams that have been successful over the years, is they all have this spine built through them, from goalkeeper to an outstanding central defender, to an amazing midfielder, to a top class striker. Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, they've all had it. And I think the important thing, looking at the likes of Guimaraes, get a hold of a good striker. You get somebody like Carlos, Dubravka. You're starting to build that spine that you can then fill other players around. So I think that's the important thing for me with some of these signings. We're starting to see that the inserts of that spine being built, but you're also seeing leadership coming in. And I think it's something we've been lacking massively on that pitch and in that team for years.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The next one I briefly want to touch on was another thing that Sky mentioned. We discussed it last night during the full transfer show, and it was Jesse Lingard. So what I want to ask Charlie was, they mentioned that a deal at the moment that Man United are actually wanting for the England international is that it could go up to 12 million if we were to stay up, which I think probably all agree it's absolutely scandalous compared to what they actually offered West Ham deal last year. But they are mentioned it's something where they think it could happen on Monday, and the details and the amount of the loan, etc., could be reduced. Do you think that's one that can still happen, Charlie?
100%, mate. I think if there's any deal that's got the hallmarks of a transfer that could take place on the final day, it's going to be this one. This is going to be a last-minute ditch. I think it's almost a certainty in a way that Newcastle and Man United are playing. They're sort of embroiled in the tactical game of poker here. The 15 million fee that's the way it's broken down is it's just shy of 3 million for the actual loan fee, which is similar, give or take, to what West Ham paid last season when they got him on loan. But then Man United are wanting a £12 million survival fee that they would charge Newcastle just for staying up in the Premier League, and that's the stumbling block for Newcastle. I mean, I don't have to say, lads, like, why should Newcastle pay £12 million just for staying up in the league? Like, I was just
going to say they can shove that up their ass.
It's pretty unheard of, but I think that's the territory that comes with Newcastle in the climate that they're in right now, with the bag of money that they've got. The Sven Botman deal, and the Diego Carlos deal, both clubs' chairman / president sort of came out last week and said, outright said, yeah, it's not happening. It's just sort of killed the deal dead there and then. Whereas the Lingard one, I definitely think it's got legs to it. Lingard wants to move. Newcastle want Lingard. It's just Man United playing sort of tight with it. You've got to remember Lingard's contract's up at the end of the season, so the only loser here would be Man United. Lingard hasn't started a single Premier League game for Man United this season. The World Cup's at the end of the year. He's itching for first team football. I think deadline day, you could see movement on that one.
Do you know what, Charlie? I said the same a few days ago, mate, about the only people who have got something to lose is Man United. You're absolutely right. Because at the end of the day, if Man United don't get rid of Lingard, they're going to carry on paying the 120, 130 grand a week, whatever he's on for the rest of the season. Jesse Lingard's not bothered. He wants to play football. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't get his move, he will just wait until May, and then he'll go and join West Ham, or he'll go and join Tottenham. Yeah. So for Man United to say, oh, we want 10 million or we want 15 million or whatever it may be with clauses or whatnot, at the end of the day, Newcastle have just got to stay firm. And you can imagine, like you say, a few hours before the window shuts, you can imagine us ringing them and going, that 3 million offer still stands if you want it. And they've got that would be stupid of them to not accept a nominal fee and to take his wages for the rest of the season. Because let's be honest, between now and the end of the season, he's going to get barely any minutes on a football pitch for Man United. Yeah. So what's the point in them keeping him on the books? What's the point?
100%, mate. I mean, I was reading Alan Shearer's interview with Kieran Trippier in The Athletic, and reading between the line there, I think Trippier might, because originally Lingard had his sort of heart set on West Ham. Yeah. But Man United were never, ever going to sell him to West Ham or even loan him to West Ham again because they're both sort of good in the same position in the league. Yeah. I think Trippier's had a sly little word in there. Maybe he's, England teammates, etc. I just want to ask you, lads, the biggest loser, if don't get us wrong, I'd love Lingard. Like, he'd come, he'd be a breath of fresh air. He scores goals. He gets something down the pitch. I think I'd love him. But what do you think of Joe Willock? Because in my opinion, he'd be the biggest loser of Lingard coming. They're sort of similar players. They like to get behind the defence and score a goal. Obviously, Willock, we haven't seen that from him this season. Lingard's almost like a better version of Willock. Where do you think that would leave him?
I think he doesn't get as many starts if Lingard comes in.
100%. He'd get replaced, wouldn't he? Lingard's a better version.
He was very good the second half. There was glimpses of the old Joe Willock from when we had him on loan. Second half of the Leeds game for me. Maybe the last 30 minutes, I would say. He looked to start to kind of build in those marauding kind of runs and go with the ball. But I think if you get somebody like Lingard, for me, he starts above Willock every single time for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Without question. The one thing Lingard gives you is goals and assists. Creativity, and he gets you goals. For me, we already know that Joe Willock, providing he arrives in the right position, can score goals. But for me, he doesn't create enough on the pitch. He just doesn't create chances. As a midfielder and as an attacking midfielder who doesn't create chances, for me, that's a concern. That's a massive concern, that a midfielder that's meant to be arriving in the box doesn't put chances on a plate for a striker. Now,
there's no through balls played or no delicate little chips over, or there's no
creativity,
no forward thinking in my book from Willock at the moment.
Yeah, he looks like a player that's just shot for confidence, doesn't he?
Yeah. And you know what? The linking this in, the Eddie Nketiah links, I think a big part of that is because of his relationship with Joe Willock. I think because they're really close friends, I think they're bringing him in. If they do bring him in, they'll be bringing him in to try and see if it gives Joe Willock a little bit of a rise and a little bit of a spark, because he's got one of his mates close to him. I
think the other thing with Willock, there's some personal stuff going on as well, though, because as far as I know, he was with a lassie from Newcastle for a good while during the loan spell, but I'm not 100% sure that's still the case.
Many a Newcastle player has been there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe not with the same girl. We just like to clarify that. But, but maybe there's a bit of all joking aside, like maybe there's a little bit of homesickness there and other things that are just playing on the mind. You look at the Lingard and the Trippier thing; they're dead close. They holiday together and everything else. So there are very, very close links with those players.
The one thing I'll say with that, and I think me and Chris talked about this on a different on the Away Day show, in that one thing I wasn't aware of, and I can't remember what interview I saw it in, but apparently in the summer, whilst he was at Arsenal before the deal went through to Newcastle, Joe Willock had COVID. And I don't think a lot of people knew about it. And I think that is why he started the season so bad. One, because he only had 60 minutes in pre-season that he played anyway, but two, he had a real bad bout of COVID, which took him a long time to get over. And I think over that period, not obviously the whole of this season, but a chunk of this season, I think he's been actually trying to recover from having COVID. Now, we had Alan St-Maximin last season that was out for the best part of 10 weeks with long COVID, and COVID can have a massive effect on individuals. So I do think, Mark, what you were saying is actually right, and I think that maybe that COVID, along with the homesickness, could be the reason why he's not performing at the level he was. But I do agree with you. I think you're absolutely spot on in the fact that we did start to see a little bit of a spark after the lead. Well, I say certainly after the first half of the Leeds game, we certainly saw him, and he probably should have scored really, which would have capped off a pretty decent second half performance.
Yeah, exactly. Quick one. I know Richie's going to move on slightly, but just obviously we've kind of just hit the hour mark. But I've just dropped something in our private chat there. We've still got a couple more to talk about, and we've got a good few questions off the viewers to ask out. So is everybody okay to hang fire? We've got best parts of 500 people watching live, lads.
And I just want to say, with that, close to 500, fantastic that are watching. As well as that, we've had 30 new subscribers since we've been on the show tonight, which is absolutely
fantastic, guys. Thank you.
And as well as that, I have to say, guys, and we are on that march to 3K. As well as that, we've got even more new people in the chat that I can see, and we do watch the chat. And I have said it before. If you haven't already, like we said, click that subscribe. We are continuing to move forward with quality content that you guys are a part of as well. So
exactly.
keep it up, guys.
Charlie, are you okay to hang around for a little bit? Are you?
100%, mate. I've got all night. I mean, if I knew 500 people were going to be watching, I would have had a shave before I come on. Like
we all would have, mate. All right.
Maybe they like it rough, Charlie.
Maybe that's what it is, bro. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Just touching, following on from what people saying about the subscribers there as well. You do also have the membership option as well, which is $1.99 a month to join the channel. You do get extra perks also to be part of the membership draws each month as well from our sponsors. Everyone knows Bronwyn by now and her fantastic brand, Black and White Army, where she's got loads of clothing line on there, such as jumpers, t-shirts. She's got a bobble hat and a Dutch and stuff like that. I believe our good man Pete's got. Is it a bobble hat you've got, or is it a Dutch that you got, mate?
I've got it's not a bobble. Yeah, it's like a winter hat. I was going to wear it tonight, but it's boiling in the house.
We do promotion, but we don't go over the top.
Yeah. Bronwyn, I apologise I didn't wear it tonight, but I have got it. I do wear it when I'm out, when I'm working, and I am repping you all the way from Leicester. You know this. And I just want to add as well, since we've just put that little mention about the race to 3K, we've just had another 10 subscribers
Thank you.
added. So we are pushing away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Amazing.
Also, new to the channel, we've also got our new sponsors. I think Martin looked at doing this because he is aware that one of my favourite quotes is "Shy Ben's getting out," but also the fact that mental health means quite a lot to myself and Martin as well. And Martin, just tell us a little bit more about our new sponsor.
Yeah, Simon Rudd. He's in the chat tonight, I think. I actually have to drop him a message later on because obviously we're doing all of these shows over the next 2-3 nights. So I'm going to see, can I get him to come on maybe Sunday evening or Monday evening, possibly while we're live, and give us his own little rundown. But yeah, www.shybens.com. Simon himself were chatting, had a look online. He does a whole range of clothing, and he's got some top quality merch on there. Baseball caps, t-shirts, hoodies, real good quality. But the thing is, he's working very, very closely in hand with a few of the mental health charities, Mental Health Aid. And it is something that is close to me and Richie for personal reasons. And it was just, I felt it was a real good connection there. So I kind of got out on a message to Simon, left him probably a slightly half drunken voice note. And in fairness to him, Simon came straight back and went, "Oh, absolutely, mate. I love the channel. Anything you can do for us will be brilliant." So yeah, so we got him on board. But go get onto shybens.com. Go and have a look. Get yourself a purchase. It is really good. And 10% of every sale Simon has given out to mental health aid. So that's absolutely amazing from him. So I'm hoping, Simon, if you're watching, I'm going to drop you a message later on, mate. Going to try and get you on Monday night for a bit of a chat with us boys. All things Newcastle, and tell us a bit more about the brand and where you're going and what you're doing. So I'll drop you a message later on, buddy, but good to have you on board.
Yeah, and if Bronwyn couldn't have asked for any more better advertising, well, she probably could have. We've got
she could have. She obviously could have.
The only reason, Pete, you've got to admit, though, the only reason that this advertisement could be better for Bronwyn was if Lee was wearing it, not you.
Oh,
do you know what it is? I was going to say, Richie. I was just going to say, actually, Bronwyn, if you send a small size T-shirt to Lee over in France, and we can get him to model that will absolutely fucking smash your website. Just saying.
You know what? Fuck off. Right? All of you, fuck off. But actually, the wife obviously heard me talking about it, and she brought it down for me. And the reason being is because my wife and Bronwyn were talking over Christmas in order to get me this hat as a bit of a surprise. So she knows that I was buzzing when I opened it up on Christmas Day, and I got this hat. So yeah, massively happy to rep this on behalf of Bronwyn. And
you know what? The other thing, Pete, absolutely 2 of the best sponsors that you can have on a channel. 2 brilliant people, 2 brilliant brands, and it's great to have them on board with us.
Very lucky.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more there with you, Martin. So, last round off the show, Martin, you had a little bit of breaking news about a bid that had allegedly gone in, but nothing had been revealed. Do you want to? Are you able to reveal it to everyone?
Ooh. Yeah. So there was a kind of. We do get little bits and pieces. As someone said yesterday, we're not in the know, and we're not. Listen, we didn't even know we were chatting about bloody Bruno. So what will we know? But I do get a couple of little bits and pieces. As Richie and the boys will be testament to, I got the name of Bruno Guimaraes on the 12th of January as one to watch. And I think that's fair to say, lads.
Yeah, I got the same message, Mark.
I sent you the DMs. And I got a message to say that there is a bid in for Aston Villa's midfielder, Douglas Luiz. I can tell you that the club that has bid is not Arsenal, is not Spurs, but it is Newcastle United. And that bid is in, and Aston Villa are looking at a replacement, but they do not want to sell, is what is coming out of Villa today. Quality player, another Brazilian, but it is Newcastle that have put that bid on the table. 32.5 million. Supposedly is a number that's gone in. I've been told it's one to watch. Likely Villa won't sell or do a deal, but it is somebody that there is an interest in, and that bid was lodged around lunchtime today, so I've been told. So there you go.
And just to add into that, Mars, as well, Villa had an offer rejected, didn't they? Was it for Bentancur from Juventus?
Got rejected today, yeah.
So are they trying to source that replacement in order to let Luis go? Who knows?
Possibly, but look, we can only tell what we get. If it comes off, it comes off. As I said, we're not in the nose. As I said, we didn't even know about Bruno. But yeah, it is. We can get that out there tonight. That there is some bits and pieces flying around on that one. I think that'd be a good deal. I mean, if we got him as well, I mean that's not a bad
Brazilian.
Villa can have Henry.
he would be the when I was speaking before about the we need for someone to sort of protect the back four and screen the back four, like the midfield enforcer in the Czech Tiote sort of mold. That would be him if we were to get him.
I think if you get something like that, Charlie, I think you probably see Eddie Howe switch up to his favoured 4-2-3-1, which would allow him to play probably a bit more front-footed football, not of the Bruce style, but more of the Eddie Howe style. But yeah, let's see where that one goes. Still 3 days to the end of the window, so let's see what happens.
I just wanted to add on that point with Douglas Luiz, because I think that's a really interesting potential signing. If Douglas Luiz is that kind of screen, which Charlie and Mark, you both said, and I agree with that 100%, what that does is that you could allow potentially Shelvey and Guimaraes to play further forward. Now, what you can, I imagine, all agree is that both of them are more creative players. And I personally think, and I felt this for a long time with Jonjo Shelvey, when you see the best of Jonjo Shelvey, he's further forward in the pitch, where he's actually influencing things further forward on the edge of the area. Whenever he pops up late in the box, he always tends to score. And what that does is having that screen will allow him to go further forward and affect the games, as well as Guimaraes. So I think that would be a really, really smart,
fairly credible link. Yeah,
all three players, all three are comfortable with the ball. All three know how to transition play. I just think our midfield would dominate games.
Yeah, I think the other thing with that, Pete, and we talked about this last week on the show, mate, which was players like that. You could go 4-2-3-1. You could switch to 4-3-3. You could go 4-4-2. It enables Eddie Howe to have that placement of being able to change tactics on the pitch without utilising the sub. And that's something we've been really, really poor at. If you look at the last 2 seasons, the only way we've been able to change the game up was by substitutes. And then if we get an injury on top of that, we've always had issues. So I think when you look at those kind of players, as you said, in the right transitional period, you could have Luis and Bruno back, Shelvey further forward. You could bring Shelvey further back to work with those two, and you could have Guimaraes further up. So it gives you that option to rotate that three effectively. Yeah. What you do create is you create the Fred and McTominay pivot that Man United have, because you could switch them backwards and forwards. So it does open up a different way of playing ball. So yes,
similar to what I said about Willock and Lingard before, lads. Where do you reckon that would leave Sean Longstaff? Because obviously Sean Longstaff's contract's up at the end of the season. He's been linked with a move this January. God forget, I wouldn't even want to think about Matty Longstaff. The poor lad's probably burnt to a crisp right now in Saudi Arabia, and we're talking about getting 2 midfielders in. But more on Sean Longstaff, because obviously he's more of a seasoned professional. He's still sort of trying to find the right position in the Newcastle team right now. I mean, he's been in and around the first team for 3 seasons, but we don't really know whether he's best in that deep lying role or further forward. I think if we've signed Guimaraes and another midfielder, I think you're probably looking at the end for Sean Longstaff there, wouldn't you?
I think he gets a new deal personally. I think
I would agree. I think he'd be on his way.
You think he'll go?
I think he'd be on his way. Yeah, he's either going to sit on the bench or he's going to become a squad player. So if he wants to play ball, he's got to move. Well, so I'd say he'd be gone by the summer.
I honestly, I think there's a chance he'll probably get a new deal. And I think the fact that Eddie Howe has spoken about wanting to keep him, particularly during this window, I think he's made it clear that he wants him at Newcastle. But you're absolutely right. He's not going to be first choice, and he's going to have to significantly improve. And it's going to need to be now. So if he does sign a new deal between now and the end of the season, he's going to have to prove that he's made progress.
Exactly. He needs to nail that place and that shirt. Otherwise, he's done.
Yeah. He knows that if he doesn't perform, we're just going to put another 33 million in and buy someone similar quality to Bruno Guimaraes in the summer that's going to come in and then take his place even more.
Yep, absolutely.
So, I think it's a really, really difficult situation. And Matty Longstaff at the moment is probably looking a little bit like Daz did yesterday. But on top of that, I think Matty Longstaff isn't going to make it in Newcastle, unfortunately. But I think what you'll find is, and what should have happened 2 years ago, is that he'll go out and have a couple of years loan before he then finds his permanent move elsewhere. That's just my opinion. I just don't think he's going to make it in Newcastle.
You've got to think as well, boys, how many of these, like, hand on heart, how many, like, if we're talking about competing for European places in the next couple of seasons, how many of these players right now are genuinely going to be in that squad when we do reach, when we're all mixing up with the big boys? You'd probably say at a push, Alan Saint-Maximin maybe with a good team around him. Even the likes of Callum Wilson will probably have some superstar striker up front, you know what I mean? So these lads realistically probably know that they're not going to be here for the long haul. Trippier as well, but maybe his age plays a factor.
Yeah,
possibly. Right. I think so.
Right, lads. Well, as I can see, time's pushing on. We're getting close to that cut-off time, but we did promise we'd get through some of the viewers' questions we've had in. So, first one we've got up is from one of our regulars, Mike Gent, and I'll go to Pete on this one. What I'll do is if we try and quick fire each reply to each question, I'll just ask you individually on this one. So there you go, Pete. Evening, lads and lasses. Heard a whisper today about a French forward from Real Madrid coming at the 2. Now, the reason why I've gone to you, Pete, is we know your brother's fantastic with his knowledge of French football. So have you heard anything about a French whisper coming from Real Madrid?
Funny you should say that, because in terms of a French forward coming from Real Madrid, no, I don't. But interesting that you mentioned Lee. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing him up earlier on. You made my night as always. We have actually secured Lee to come on live tomorrow night. So he will be coming on, joining the Loaded Boys to talk Bruno Guimaraes and French football. So you know what? Hold that question, because we
till
can
tomorrow
ask
night.
him tomorrow night. That's the best thing to do.
Will the real Lee Davey please stand up?
He will be
looking
there.
forward to that, because I haven't met him yet. I've tweeted him a couple of times, but I haven't met him, so I'll look forward to that tomorrow night. Now
he's looking forward to coming on.
He will be a fan to now.
And we already know that Pete's possibly got his excuses in for not turning up tomorrow night, because he won't be the most popular Davey on the show.
Exactly. I tell you, the tight t-shirts are going to be out, lads. I tell you, there's going to be a bit of brotherly battling going on. All right, next question for the panel. Here we go.
Next question, right, Chris, for you. Yeah, that's the one. Does the panel think that the Bruno signing will attract other or better players?
Yeah, so we were talking about that earlier on. I think we'll see the impact of Bruno Guimaraes' signing probably in the summer, because unfortunately, by the time that it's announced and he's put pen to paper, I don't think it will attract anyone in the next probably 2 days, realistically, which is a shame. But I mean, maybe there's deals lined up, and maybe people are umming and ahhing, and maybe this will push something through. But to answer Gary's question, I think a statement signing of someone like Bruno Guimaraes definitely has the potential to. But even if we don't see it in this window, we'll see the benefits of it in the following window in the summer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go, Gary. Thanks for that.
Charlie,
next one up for Charlie. There you go.
Which players do you think will leave during the transfer window?
I don't actually think there will be any departures, mate. There was faint. I heard faint talk last week of Jeff Hendrick possibly getting shipped out to Middlesbrough, but I think with him being in Saudi Arabia, I don't see that as logistically sort of possible. I think the focus over the weekend, and certainly on deadline day, is all guns blazing on incomings rather than outgoings.
Charlie, am I right in thinking that we're home tomorrow? Is that right? Are they flying home to Newcastle tomorrow?
Yeah, Saturday flight back tomorrow, mate.
Yeah. So maybe they might send Jeff Hendrick to Teesside Airport instead. Then you never know.
Yeah, one-way flight.
I think this next one, Chris has to. This next one, Richie has to go to Chris. What do you think on Andy Carroll to West Bromwich?
Mate, I wish him.
He's still gutted.
I wish him all the luck. I really do. A very successful loan stint at Reading. And I said, boys, I know it's the takeover, and I'm not going to bang on about him, but I told you he could still do a job. I really believe that. And when I heard that Burnley were linked with him, it didn't surprise me in the slightest, because, as I've said previously, if you've got a fit Andy Carroll on the bench, I don't care what league it is, what team it is, no defender wants to play against a fit Andy Carroll last 10, 15 minutes. No team, no defender would want that. So good luck to him at West Brom, and maybe he might just secure them promotion, because I think they're about 5th or 6th in the Championship at the moment. So maybe they're hoping that he might make the difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what we'll do, the next two comments we'll just briefly touch over. We love Paul Oxley a bit.
Yeah, you know what? He should know better.
I know.
Are we putting in a bid for more Leicester? Paul Oxley, hang your head in shame.
I've seen a poor loss fall for that the other day.
Yeah.
Apparently there is a girl who knows a bit about him, but there you go.
That was class. I felt sorry for her, but that was class.
No. Poor John Sinclair, I tell you, not fair to him. All right, next one then, we'll go. Richie, I'll give this one to you then. Can Lingard
you know what? I wasn't going to answer it, because we actually touched on it on last night's show. So if you want the answer to that question, watch last night's show.
There you go, Mark.
There you go.
Okay. We'll give a quick shout out. Limerick Geordie. Irish Geordie, there you go, new YouTube member. Thanks for that, Limerick Geordie.
Great.
All right, this one then, Richie.
Go on.
Eddie Howe doing a Keegan, buying better players to build a team around like Keegan did with Andy Cole. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I think we don't really have that Andy Cole type centre piece up at the top of the end of the pitch yet. I think that will probably come more likely in the summer, unless there's something going on behind the scenes with a name that me and Pete are still hoping there's. We've got our fingers crossed that while Steve Nixon's over in South America, he might decide to have a fly over one of the borders to Uruguay and potentially have a word with Mr. Darwin Núñez while he's over there. But no, I do agree that Eddie Howe is doing, a degree where he's buying players for roles that we specifically need for how he wants the team to play going forward. So yeah, and to be fair, he's probably since Keegan, I think it's probably the first time since Keegan where we're actually having to do a full rebuild completely throughout the team. When Bobby Robson came in, we had cogs already part of the team going forward. You know what I mean? In that machine, this is a brand new machine that's getting built now. Because we're looking at players we've never been able to look at since the Entertainers days, realistically. So it's a fantastic type to be part of. And I think Eddie Howe is doing Kevin Keegan in answer to Gary's question.
Okay, cool. A quick one there. Geordie Tune for Life says he's just made a cup of tea. Has Chris answered his question yet?
I answered that one. I love that.
Exactly. This one, Charlie, this one's for you, pal. Do you reckon that the club will immediately try and replace Shelvey considering current form? Or as Sir Monkey Suit says, he thinks he'll be part of a midfield three, which will be Shelvey, Joe Linton and Bruno at first to begin with?
I don't think Shelvey will be getting shipped out straight away. Definitely not. I mean, I mentioned Lascelles before with the armband. I think it's a similar situation with Shelvey. He's one of the most senior players at the club. He's vice captain. Wait, Trippier got the armband today. He was vice captain. He's a big figure in the dressing room. He obviously he's on a high off getting the winner against Leeds the other day. He has improved under Howe. I can't see I can see Guimaraes perhaps becoming the long-term replacement for Shelvey. He's a deep-lying playmaker, similar playing style. But I think Shelvey's, there hasn't been because obviously Isaac Hayden's had his injury problems. There hasn't been a sort of a defensive player in midfield all season. It's been like Longstaff and Willock and Shelvey. Yeah. So I think he'll be alongside Shelvey for now, but I can see him replacing him in future years.
Okay. Pete, this one for you. Are we all thinking of the centre-back and striker key areas, or would Lingard and Byrne be enough to keep us up, secure safety with a Roy Hodgson-inspired Watford? A question from Life Goals.
Life Goals, absolutely spot on. Been a massive support, particularly in this last week. So I appreciate your comment. Lingard and Byrne, would that be enough? Good question. Would it be enough to stay in the league? I think it would be enough to stay in the league, but I still think another centre-back alongside Byrne is needed. There's that long-standing question, should Lascelles be in the team? You need another centre-back. You need Byrne and one other to ensure that Lascelles is not playing week in, week out, in my opinion. So I think you still need another centre-back there to come in. I think we need a pool of Byrne, another centre-back, Shaw, and then Lascelles or Fernandez as your fourth choice. That needs to be the pairing. Lingard will add creativity, and I think he'll score goals. So he'll improve us in attacking areas. So we won't just need maybe the one goal to kill to win a game. We'll be able to kill games hopefully by 2 or 3. But you know what? I want a striker.
Yeah,
Núñez.
Okay, so we do have a question on that, and I know it's probably not the Núñez, but anybody can answer this, which is, what do we make of the Eddie Nikita link? Do we think it's just clicks and views by media, or is there genuine interest? I think there's interest.
I wouldn't have him.
Well, if you look, to be fair, there are some sections of the media, and Charlie, you might know this more than anybody. There are still sections of the media that are saying we're still negotiating for Duvan Zapata at Atalanta. There was links today that Atalanta are looking at Divock Origi in case Zapata leaves. So there's an opportunity there, and for me, like Eddie Nketiah is way down the list, in my opinion. Would I kind of turn my nose up if he did come in? No. But I've got Darwin Núñez as the top choice and Duvan Zapata that's not far below him as the second choice. They are two fantastic strikers. For me, Darwin Núñez and Duvan Zapata are both top 10 strikers. If we get those players in, they will score the goals that will guarantee us staying in the Premier League. There is no doubt about it. The cheaper deal is Duvan Zapata because it's been mooted that Atalanta have rejected a £5 million loan with a view to a £30 million deal in the summer. They want an £8 million loan with a 32 or something million pound deal. Why that's not been done, I don't know. Whether we're looking at alternatives, hopefully Núñez, I'm not sure. But they for me are the deals that we should be going for. I think we need a striker.
Okay. Another name, I'll just add on to that. Another name that keeps cropping up is he plays for Montpellier, is Steffi Mavavidi. I think I pronounced that one right. He's England under 20 international, I think. He was on the books at Arsenal. He was on the books at Juventus. He's currently on the books of Montpellier. Now, his brother actually plays for Newcastle's, Sean, I think it is. He actually plays for Newcastle's under 18s.
Yeah.
And
he's in a good run of goals as well, by the way.
Yeah. And he's keen on a return to England, and obviously Newcastle's name's always going to be in the mix.
If you haven't already, watch Mavadidi's 2 goals for Montpellier last weekend. He scored 2 goals, one including the winner. Fantastic goals, really, really good goals. So he's definitely one that would be linked in and one to look out for. That's for sure.
Okay.
Last couple of questions.
Yeah, last couple of questions. I'll answer this one. So, when is the podcast with Mark Douglas? Yes, I can let people know. He was due on with us last week. He was also then due to come on this evening and have a chat. But obviously the window is absolutely crazy. He snowed under. Spoke to him. Was it yesterday, lads? I spoke to him. Yesterday I spoke to him. He is coming on Wednesday evening. So he's got a night off work. He's coming on Wednesday evening. The only reason we've had to change it around is because of the window, but also Mrs. Douglas dropped a new child at the weekend. So the Douglases have a new baby in the house. So well done, Mark and Mrs. Douglas. So not only is he dealing with a newborn, but the window is obviously crackers. So we've been very flexible with Mark, and to be fair to him, he's been really, really good with us as a pod. So he'll be on Wednesday night with us, all being well.
Just before we get the last question, Mark, another one we want to mention that we've also got in the pipeline for Tuesday night. After the resounding success of the first show at the start of January, we've actually got Kieran Maguire coming back on Tuesday night.
Yeah,
basically cover all things FFP again. Now we know how much we'll have spent by the time it goes live on Tuesday. You know, how's that going to affect our summer window and going forward over the next few years? How some of the deals we've put together this window, how's it going to affect stuff like that? So another fantastic show for you. So we are putting in the shifts these next few days.
We are, indeed.
We've got a transfer weekend rather than a transfer deadline day. It's 4 days of transfer special in the deadline window. We've got special guests coming along. We've got Charlie tonight, Mr. Lee Davey on tomorrow night, and you never know who we might have lined up Sunday and Monday. But go on, Mark. We'll round off with one more question. I'll let you choose which one you want.
So one of our long-term regulars, Jeff. By Monday, how many including loans? He thinks 5 or 6. So we've got, obviously, with Bruno coming in, we've got 2 already. He'll be the 3rd. So what do we reckon then, boys? Very quickly, another 2 or 3?
I think possibly 3 or 4, actually.
Jesus, Richie, you're positive.
I think Bruno and 2 more. I think we'll definitely get a centre half in, and I think the Lingard deal is still alive.
Okay, there you go. So yeah,
6
I think
total.
2. I think another 2 or 3.
6 total.
6 and
5.
So you're saying 3 and 4 as well, Pete?
Yeah, I think it'd be 5 total. Honestly, nobody can see it at the moment. I can see a couple of surprise deals popping up.
Yeah, I think we'll see something we didn't think about.
Yeah.
Okay, another quick one from another one of our viewers, Tango Man. Are we sending Pete to France in a swap deal? We'll answer that tomorrow when Lee's on, so we'll find out.
Why are we doing this?
Hey, listen, I only put the question. Don't shoot the messenger, lad.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Daz. Why are we doing this? What? Oh.
Lee Errington, then one of the last ones. We just kind of said it. Pete just said it. I just said it. Is there a potential for a bigger statement signing by Monday? Listen,
absolutely.
I think, as you've seen, while Amanda's been away, Mairdad has been let loose with the Barclay card and has gone bonkers. And long may it last. But yeah, let's. Chris did put a question in, but we're not going to put that up because he took way too long earlier on and made a whole mess of it. So
he was obviously writing the length, but by the length of the question mark, I think that's probably why there was such a delay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was typing that while the electricity was kicking out.
I just wanted to add. Listen, massive thanks to all the people putting stuff in the chat. I'm so sorry we couldn't get everything up, but literally we've just been inundated with comments. If we haven't answered your comment, please. If we haven't answered your question, get it on tomorrow. Yeah,
sure,
back tomorrow.
Join us tomorrow night. We're back tomorrow night, same time, 8:00. We'll be back on again.
I just want to say 50 subscribers tonight.
Wow.
Whilst we've been on the show. Massive thanks to you guys. If you've been on the show, Toon LA Old God is in the chat. Lots of other new guys that we've not seen on a regular basis in the chat. If you haven't yet, click subscribe. It's been a fantastic show. Really enjoyed it.
And we did run over from our hour, but it was great. Little bit of breaking news tonight is that it looks like Frank Lampard has been appointed Everton manager. That's just coming through on the Twitter vine there tonight. So if that's the case, best of luck to Frank down in Everton with those very demanding fans.
Not till after a week on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's not hope for no new manager bounce. But there you go.
He's
Definitely.
in for a hell of a first game.
Richie.
It's a hell of a first game.
It is. Richie, do you want to close us out?
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much for everyone in the chat who stuck with us for the extra half an hour as well. It's 350 pretty much watching now, but we've been up over just over 5, so much appreciated. As we've said, that's the first night of our 4-day sitting for the transfer deadline shows. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night, Sunday and Monday. Also a couple back next week on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. A couple of specials we've got for you as well. I'd like to thank Mark for joining us, as well as Pete, Chris, and our special guest tonight, Mr. Charlie Bennett. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Charlie.
Thank you very much, everyone at home. Enjoy your weekend, and we shall see you soon.
See you tomorrow night, 8:00. Thanks a mil. Thanks for watching. See you guys.